what you guys did with Floyd Mayweather, and he really reinvented boxing. He brought boxing to a whole different light, financially, pay-per-view wise, eyeballs on the sport, business wise, matchup wise. You know, people started using the word A side, B side from what Floyd said. People started using terms like easy work from what Floyd said. People started using the word perfecting my craft because of what Floyd said. He really tremendously is a trendsetter in the sport. And having that team behind him, even the TMT brand, I see you sporting it, you know, everything that he did surpassed boxing in a sport. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think that because he's always looked at it like that he was going to be the biggest name in the entire sport. And he's been thinking that way ever since he was a teenager. Mm-hmm. And when he turned pro, he was telling me things like, even though he was at 130 pounds, he was talking then about fighting Oscar De La Hoya. You know, and Oscar was at that time, probably at 40 pounds.
Yeah.
He's from 35, 40 pounds. He had already had his sights on the bigger names, and Oscar was the biggest name at that particular time in the sport, you know. And it was just a matter of just time before he got his opportunity, because he's always been of the mindset that he's going to put in the work. He was going to outwork the competition while the competition was sleeping. He was going to be working. And that's just kind of been the mindset from day one. You know, he was especially early on in his career, he was doing 3-a-days, and he lived, ate, slept, and drank boxing. And that's what it was, you know. And his motto always was that the less you get hit, the longer you're going to last in the sport. And we've all found that so true. You know, he was fighting well over 20 years, and he was able to walk away from the sport professionally with all his faculties and a bankroll.
Yep.
You know, so he accomplished everything that he ever wanted in the sport times 10. You know, records that I think that will never be broken, in my opinion. And his legacy will live on forever.
Leonard, let me ask you something. Floyd, I know that his mindset was always dreaming big and looking big and accomplishing all of these big feats. Do you think he ever envisioned that in a half hour he'd make $250 million?
To be honest, Amir, he's talked about that. He really, really has. And it's amazing how he had that vision. And he always talked about being the first fighter to ever make $100 million.
Right.
He talked about that, I mean, definitely 20 years ago. He talked about that. And, you know, I kind of looked at him like, okay, like, it's nice to dream big, but everything that he dreamed, it was able to come to fruition because, again, we had a great team, and he did his part. He did his part. He never cut any corners.
Yep.
And that's why, you know, with like the fighters of this generation today, you see them, you know, a lot of them, they have some of these bad habits. They drink and
Yep.
You know,
you are absolutely right.
Floyd has never drank or
Conor
tasted
McGregor.
alcohol a day in his life.
Yeah, no,
you know,
you're absolutely right.
He's just always been fully committed and driven to be the best in the entire sport.
There's so much to be said about that, Leonard. You never thought and you never expected that Floyd would be pulled over for a DWI, have a drug addiction, come in overweight, not be prepared for a fight. Those weren't things that were synonymous with the Floyd Mayweather brand, aura, name.
Say that better.
Yeah, because he set that level of expectation